Hey everyone, Edge here from Hitstone Gaming. I'm bringing you the long-awaited Final Fantasy 15 review. Yeah, if you've been waiting a long time for this, I feel sorry for you. Anyways, so if you've seen my rant, you know I was not happy with what I had played up to the Titan fight. I still was enjoying my experience. I'm gonna go ahead and say one of my gripes about the game that will not detract from my score is the DLC. I do not think this game should have had DLC. Now, to somebody who commented on it, I don't think he watched my whole video, but yeah, okay, I get it. DLC is normally something you pay for because they had to develop DLC. I understand development. We'll be going to college for that soon. Not exactly sure game development, software development, or what, but yes. What I meant, and it was a rant. Rants are not organized thoughts. What I meant is a game such as Final Fantasy 15 that we have been waiting for 10 years should not have had DLC because that's kind of a middle finger to the consumer. That's anti-gamer if you want to go that far. What it should have done is just no DLC. Like pre-order bonuses and stuff, I get people flood their games with that stuff. I get it. But there just should have not been DLC. There is nothing that says you need to make DLC in a video game. Nothing. You don't need it, so don't make it. Now that being said, that's not going to detract from my score of the game. I'm going to get into my review right now. And I'm going to start with the things I liked about the game, which sadly there's less than the things I disliked. So, what I liked, the car, kinda sorta. This is also something I did not like. So I'm going to talk about what I liked about it first, go over all the other points, and come back to it. I liked the car because, well, it had the auto drive mode, which was really useful because you could just sit in the car, turn on your favorite Final Fantasy OST, and take a road trip and listen to it. That was awesome. Like listening to the opening of Final Fantasy VIII, Liberty Fataliers. I don't know if I'm saying it right or if that's the correct two words. Wow. It was so awesome listening to that. Like, I could not believe, like, hearing it again. Like, I forgot how epic Final Fantasy VIII's soundtrack is. That was so good. Also, while riding in the car in auto mode, you can just look around, no harms. Oh wow, this world is beautiful. Yeah, the Final Fantasy world is beautiful. So I liked the car, that part of it. Another thing that I liked, the combat of Final Fantasy 15. How it looks, I loved. It's like watching an Avengers movie. You have your characters, they're doing flips and everything. If you know the little small intricacies that are not really touched on in the combat explanation of how to like holding back, left, or I guess even forward does it on the analog stick when you're doing combos, actually changes your combos. So we're going to touch on this later. But like everything just looks cool. The link strikes, the counterattack link strikes, the back attack link strikes, everything just looked awesome in the game. And that's a plus. The overall growth of the characters to a point in the story was really nice and well done. Like, I loved watching the characters bond over the campfire, the, what were they called? The on-tours, the tours that you could run into at certain campsites. I hated the fact you had to find those campsites. Like, well, yeah, you're going to have to run to them anyways, but like, there should have been a marker telling you, like, this is a tour campsite. Now, it did make you have to camp at every campsite, which is actually very useful. It gives you AP and everything, but I didn't really care for that because I'm trying to grind out experience to get it to where I can get a good double or triple modifier and go sleep at one of the hotels. Whatever. how they handled the four characters growing together was really nice. The look of the game. If you say this game looks bad, I guess you're blind. It's as simple as that. I don't even care about graphics, and this game looked amazing. I can't deny that. Like, graphics don't make a game or break a game for me. Holy crap, the graphics were awesome. Moving on from that one. Music. Music. The music in the game was outstanding. I'm not just talking about you can go get the soundtrack to Final Fantasy 1, 2, 3, 4, all of those. No, I'm talking about Final Fantasy 15 soundtrack itself. It was actually good. Like, wow. Loved it. They outdid themselves on it. If they can keep doing music like that in their full-scale production games, got no complaints. Like, there no complaints. I can't complain. That's all the good things I experienced. I can't think of anything else that I'm missing. I really can't. Like, there are memorable characters, but they're not touched on enough, so that's actually negative to me. Ironea and Core. I can barely remember his name because he's only touched on it at the very beginning and the very end of the game. By the way, this will have spoilers. When I get into the sections I do not like, it's spoilers galore, so be prepared for spoilers. And like, even Iris's attitude and everything was pretty enjoyable. Like, characters were actually really enjoyable in this game. I know some people hated Ignis in the English language. I thought he was cool. It was fine. The British accent, like, why are you hating on a British accent? Is it because it's fake? Well, then hate on Cindy or Sydney, his accent, because that is the worst take on a southern accent I have ever heard. I'm from the South. I know. Okay. Points that I did not like. Remember, spoilers. Like, spoilers. Major spoilers. Not yet necessarily, but they are coming up. The feel of the combat. Just hold circle and win. Now, I know everyone's like, no, you're going to have to press square. You're going to have to defend. You're right. Just hold circle. Defend when needed. Just hold circle. Excuse me. There are things, there is a more intricate combat to the game. As I said earlier, you can like press left, back, forward, and right achieves the same as left, just different direction. And you'll get different combos. With a normal sword, you have your normal combo. If you hold back, it kind of like flips back and jumps at the enemy. I can't think of holding forward. I'm not sure if holding forward does something, but yeah. And if you press left or right, he goes like, what would it be, 90 degrees to the enemy and hits them on the flank. And you can hold it and he'll go a full 180, but you cannot get a blind side off of that. But it's cool. They didn't explain that at all. And at the end of the day, oh, and also if you hold the attack button and then let go after an attack hits and then press it again at the right timing, you can do a finishing attack, which this is necessary for great swords. Because you'll do something like a Gladiolus' Tempest attack. You'll do something like that, which I don't even think they explained, like being able to tie in finishers to your combos. So that's an issue. They didn't explain everything. And at the end of the day, being able to do all of this does not matter. Like, I realized I had all this at my disposal. I still found myself holding circle to win. Because it's all you need to do. Even the fight against Ravis near the end of the game, which I know a lot of people do not like that fight. I liked it because it was the only damn challenging thing in the game. But you still could just hold circle to win. So at least it's not pay to win. It's just hold a button to win, which could be a lot worse. Could be a lot worse. As far as like my analogy. But it was boring. Like, at least it was really cool to watch, but it was boring to do. Like, I found myself just like holding it one hand, other hand like this, and just like enjoying what I'm watching. Whenever cool stuff's happening, I'm like, yeah, and then just. But I mean, I guess it's all they could do. And I know a lot of people, we got this on a 10-year development game. Please stop saying that. This game was not 10-year development. It was announced 10 years ago as Versus 13. It was scrapped after, let's say, 3 years. And then restarted 3 years later as Final Fantasy 15. If anything, it's been in development for 4 years. And this is still inexcusable for 4 years. But it's not a 10-year development game. And don't act like it is. Because it's not. The second half of the game. Oh god. So I'm not angry at anything about like how you lose the open world bit at the second half. I'm actually okay with that. It helped streamline when the story, I'm going to touch on that, is getting more serious. But, so when you arrive at Alticia, I believe it is, you lose the free roam aspect. You can still wander around Alticia. But once that's done and over with, GG. Actually, BG, my bad, not GG. But, so you go on, get to Alticia, you start doing the story elements there, you fight Leviathan, and all of a sudden you're now on a steam rail train tracks to the end of the game. Literally, you're on train tracks to the end of the game. You know what I'm talking about. That's just a joke on it. And like I said, I'm not opposed to that. But the story just got so horrible at that point. And it already was not that great of a story. It was just like mediocre at best. And now it's like, wait, why did Ravis suddenly have a change of heart? And like, you didn't even know he had a change of heart right then. Until like, in Alticia you didn't know. But when it went to, I think, the Handmaiden? Or was it the little girl? One of them triggered a flashback in which you find Ravis talking to Lena Freya. So, you must help the king, yada yada yada. What triggered his change of heart? Like, what are his motivations? Like, what is going on with him? Thank God we're going to have an update coming to the game to explain this. Oh, why is it not in the game? Alright. So the story just gets so disconjointed. And it already like had a couple things, like major things happened off screen. Like, give us the view of it. Whether or not Noct sees it, we as the player should. I understand that the story is from Noctis's viewpoint, so you don't get all this stuff as the player, but that's crap and that's poor storytelling, because like, I wanted to see the emotion that happened when the Nifs came in to Came. No, it's not Came, it's the place before Came. Power plant place, can't remember the name of it. When they came in there and killed the old man, whose name I cannot remember. I want to see that moment. I want to feel and experience the emotion that it should give me. But instead I get Iris and the kid crying about it. What? The dude was important? Was he like a handler to the king or something? Like, was he one of the guards of the king? Like how you got 3 people guarding you? Nothing is explained about that man. It seems like he's more important than we think. And maybe he's not, and they just actually make him seem that important, even though he is not important at all. Wow. I'm just so confused about that. And like, there are multiple different elements that like, wait, how did this happen? Why didn't we get to experience anything? After Titan fight, you hop on the plane thing, carrier, with Arden. Excuse me. And what goes on from that is we don't know. We know apparently another carrier came down and stole our car, and then we got out of that carrier. Now I assume Arden was, because we know Arden and everything, I assume he obviously let us go. I get it. I get that. I actually do. But like, they could have shown a couple more story elements, because if it's a story from Noctis's view, how did it happen? How did Noctis get away? Whether or not it was just peaceful talking, or did we have to knock out a couple MTs? Like, what? Can't even knock out an MT, can you? But, like, what happened? I want to know, and they didn't tell us. It's really disappointing. The story was just disappointing with how disconjointed it was, and how it just got to such a horrible crap show. Trying to refrain from horrible words, like the curse words and all that. And that's hard, because I use them quite liberally. I feel the English language is a language of expression. Those words only help with expression. It doesn't show anything to intelligence or anything, in my opinion. Some people say it does. Whatever. But yeah, the story is a crap show. It's a disconjointed mess. So, also, this kind of goes into it. This second half of the game's character development, or really, it was like we took 3 steps forward going to the second half. Now we're going 8 steps back. And there's another issue that comes into this, and it's the Ring of the Lucii. But, alright. So, we had the thing happen in Altacia, and Noctis wakes up, like a week later, ring in his hand. The Ignis is blind and all that, and then we got like 3 weeks later after that scene, and it's about you're on the train, and Gladiolus is just being a major, I can't use any words here, like being a major dick to Noct about this. And it's like, why don't you man up and wear the ring instead of carrying it around? Now this brings me to a point. What's the issue with wearing the ring? Like, is this the one ring of power? Like, what is the issue of wearing this ring? What does it mean? The game never explained it. Never explained the cost of wearing the ring. If it did somewhere, and I'm wrong, tell me. But I watched the movie after I played the game. I put the edition that had the movie in the game. And I did not watch the movie first, because I wanted to know if there were things I had to watch the movie to understand. The Ring of the Lucii is definitely one of those, and I will touch on that later. But, so Gladiolus is being an asshole to Noct. Noct is being extremely emo because Lunafreya died, whom he's only met her probably for upwards of let's say 2 months out of his life he's known her. Yo, it's a childhood crush. Get over it. You got Aranea and Iris. Iris is trying to jump on you, man. And, okay, yeah, she is 15 at that point in the game. But that means she's 25 at the end of the game. So what does it matter? Besides, Gladiolus, I know Noct says, Gladiolus would probably kill me if I tried anything with her. Gladiolus is okay with it. Do one of the tours. You find out he is perfectly okay with Noct and his sister hooking up. So, I don't get why he's so obsessed with Lunafreya. I don't. There is no character development for Lunafreya. We know that she's the Oracle. Apparently her job's getting her sick, trying to help the true king, which is different than the king. At least they barely explain that. And, yeah, so we have that. That character development was just awful with Lunafreya. It regressed with Gladiolus. Ignis remained the cool guy. Prompto, what the ever-living with Prompt? I can't even, so he is the biological son of the person who created the technology for the MTs. No, with Arden's help. Arden gave them, the secrets and stuff, if I'm not mistaken. But, I'm trying to think of the dude's name. I want to say Vineas, and that's wrong. I think that's a Kingdom Hearts in my head right there. But, so yeah, it was he's the biological son, but then he was put up for adoption or something? He was adopted by people in the Crown City. Insomnia, which... Really, just don't name it Insomnia. That was Poor choice of words. Like, poor choice of naming right there. So it turns out he's got the MT scanning technology and everything, but he's not an MT. He's a citizen of Niflheim. Or is he an MT? I don't know. He does say, like, oh, I'm one of them. Is he saying he's one of the Nifs or an MT? Like, it's not touched on hard enough. Like, it's not explained well enough. I assume in the DLC for him we'll understand it. Because apparently the DLC for everybody is going to be when they were missing for a certain amount of time of the story, aside from Ignis, which his will be like during and after the Leviathan fight. Which I'm going to touch on that real shortly. But yeah, so like character development was going good and then just like completely went down. There was a scene with Prompto. I found it early in the game. You have to stay at a hotel and it triggers. So it's an optional scene, and this is the only scene, in my opinion, where the knowledge of the anime actually comes in handy, because you would know how they met and became friends. Which, Plumpto number 1, I don't know. But yeah, so you have that. That's my stupid attempt at a joke. So you have that one scene. You can infer enough from that scene just from the video game. But the anime makes that scene actually really touching and endearing. It's awesome. Because you have to watch the anime to get all that. Otherwise, you just kind of understand it. Okay. I'm going to move to the Ring of the Lucii right now. What is the cost of putting on this ring? When we get to the segment where Noct puts on the ring, see him like, and then he like puts it on and it's like, what just happened? Why was he in pain? I probably didn't sound like probably sounded wrong right there, especially with the whole, but whatever. Yeah, Noct was in pain when he put that ring on. What happened? What caused all this? See Subject A. Subject A is Final Fantasy 15, Kingsglaive. Because you're not explaining jack shit. Sorry. So I said I wasn't going to try and curse, but that's kind of coming out. Because at this point, made me angry. You're not explaining jack shit about that ring unless you watch the movie. Nothing about that ring is told in the game. You're not told, or maybe it's kind of mentioned in like passing, that the new, I think it's called the new wall, which is like the force field wall, was created by the ring. You're not told that when you put on the ring, you make a pact with the old kings, which literally there's 13 old kings, including Noctis's old man, 13 old kings. That's the Knights of the Round right there. And you're not told. In game, they could have done the cutscenes that they have the scenes in the movie where time freezes and the people talk to the old kings. But no, that is not shown. That is not touched on, and it should be, because that is a very important story piece. When you put that ring on, you pledge X amount of time of your life. And when that time's up, you die. So you basically pledge the amount of time they see worthy of you to serve your life to defending Insomnia. Or the world, I'm not sure which. I guess Insomnia and to an extent the world. And like, you see, what was his name? Nyx from the movie? The main character? Like, really forgettable main character. But yeah, you see him put on the ring. And he gave his life. They said for one day, you get the power of the ring to protect this city. And of course, he didn't even have to have the ring on for the power to work. He was energized. The Energizer Bunny would be jealous of that man. But what I'm getting at is the fact that like they explained how the ring works in the movie. But they didn't even touch on it in the game. Not once. that I can remember, and I went and found all the side details and everything that's in the game. It's not touched on, it's not explained, it's not. It's just like, oh, they'll figure it out. How can we figure out that when you put the ring on, you sign a contract saying, okay, for the next 5 years of my life, I am protecting the city. Once that 5 years is up, I die. How can we infer that from that one scene of Noct trying to put on the ring and then putting it on and like grimacing in pain? Like, you cannot. Oh God, like, it's just, it angers me. It's bad storytelling to a T. I write. I'm like an amateur author. I write a lot. That is horrible storytelling. Alright, we're back to the car. I said I liked it because of auto mode and the music and being able to look around. Well, I don't like it because if you're actually driving, it's the most boring and obnoxious thing you can do in that game. And furthermore, let's talk about the Regalia Type F. Okay, I hope I don't sneeze. Feels like I'm gonna sneeze. So the Regalia Type F is it's your airship in the game. Just heavy air quote this airship. You know, it's cool the first time you do it, and then it's just bad. Have y'all seen the videos where people take off and run into a lamppost and just instant fail? I've even seen a video of somebody landed perfectly and it crashed. I was like, why? There's a dungeon that you have to get to, and you have to basically land on a very small strip of road. It took me 3 tries to do this. And that's not what makes me angry. People who went back and landed, that did the dungeon, got the, I think it's called the Black Hood item that automatically defends for you, but you still have to be able to defend. And then when they went back, they didn't save before they got in the car, took off, tried to land on the road, and like one thing or another, they failed. Yeah, I saved before I took back off and went back to the mainland. Trust me, I did. Just like, the Regalia Type F was horrible, and if you're actually in manual control, there are invisible walls everywhere, and it does not matter. You are not going off-road on that car. You can take it on a dirt road, but you are not going off-road. And like, I know, that is a really nice Audi. And if you try to take the Audi that is off-roading, you're probably going to regret it. But this is a video game, and And finally, Chapter 13, and the chapter afterwards. I get Chapter 13 was supposed to be like a change of pace, kind of like the hopelessness feeling and everything, and it definitely achieved that, don't get me wrong. But the jump scares were unneeded and just stupid. The element of like how weak the ring was bad. That ring should have been a lot stronger, because if you see the movie, you know that ring is extremely powerful. And I get you, well, you can't break the game because items given with you for the rest of the game. You're right, so you can't make it like that. But you can make death more powerful, holy more powerful, and okay, you can't really make Eterna more powerful. That's just flat how it is, sure. But you could have done a lot more for the 2 spells that you were going to be using throughout that portion. You could have made the hide and seek segments of it, I don't know, like just non-existent, like at all. Kind of like have the enemies come at you and just like be defeated by a couple holy casts instead of like rather hiding. And like, I didn't hide, like that mechanic was so far bad. I would just like get their attention and then holy. And holy works just like dodging. Aside from if you're holding down the dodge button, you're draining MP waiting to dodge. So you might as well just like, I would say the mechanic is a just defend, which is like you hit it at the frame perfect moment. Like, frame perfect is stretching it. You could do it a second beforehand. Like, you're not wasting that much MP. That's fine. But there was no point to hiding, because like you would rather just holy the crap out of the enemies. Oh, and while I'm saying holy, I'm going to go to my next point. Magic. Fire, blizzard, and thunder. And then extent of the ring, Eterna, which Eterna literally is like a time spell. You're ripping the fabric of space-time. Holy and death, which death is god-awful. Holy is not as useful as you want it to be. Having fire, thunder, and blizzard, at least we have those 3 spells, but where are all the other spells? At least we have the 3 tiers of those spells, but where are all of our other tier 3s of all the other spells? This was horrible. Like, magic was horrible. I couldn't cast magic without damaging my team members. Whoever thought friendly fire was a good idea, get him out of that office. I'm not saying get rid of his job, just get him out of that office, because he doesn't need to be in that office. It'd be like janitorial office, I guess. Or a different office at least, please. What else is there? After chapter 13, you go to the World of Ruin. This is obviously a nod at Final Fantasy VI. I'm playing through Final Fantasy VI right now for the first time. I can already tell with how far I am in the game, not far at all. I'm only like just past, if I say the name wrong, please forgive me. I think it's Edgard's castle. It might be Edward. I cannot remember for the life of me. I just got past his castle. But World of Ruin is obviously, or World of Darkness. I can't remember what they call it in chapter 14. It's obviously a nod to Final Fantasy VI. You can't explore it, and I want to explore this dark world so bad. I want to go Lestalem. That's the power plant place's name, if I remember correctly. I want to go to Lestalem in the World of Darkness. It's the only safe haven left. Well, that and Hammerhead. I want to see what is going on in these. Like, I want to see it. All I can hope is that the multiplayer DLC is World of Darkness, like where you take up a hunt, you meet up with friends online, and then you go explore the World of Darkness and take down people. All I can hope is that that is what it is. And you can play as, and I believe, Iris, I've said her name a couple times, the Dragoon chick, and Core have been announced playable for this. But then you have the your other 3 party members who are going to be playable. So that's 6 people playable. So I hope that's the case, that it's in the World of Darkness, World of Ruin, and you get to do all this. But I hope we can see Lestalem and explore it, and see. We've got to explore Hammerhead, but whatever. And then there's this game was so missed potential. The ending being like the ending battle, like the very end part of it being on the QTE segment. I'm not opposed to QTEs, but like that was so out of place. Should have just been a godlike cutscene. That's all it should have been. And I want to go back to something on story now that these are all the points. And there's a bit more that I said I wanted to track for DLC. However, the DLC is missing story elements. When Gladiolus left, what did he do? Okay, it's from Noctis's viewpoint, so we don't know what Gladiolus did. However, it's quite obvious that this was probably in the game at first and removed due to time constraints. Ignis's segment. What happened to him? Probably the same thing. Oh, and after he's blind and like you're going through like the dungeon with the Marlboro boss at the end and all that, like, holy crap. That was the worst experience ever. I like the fact that they're accounting for the new status effect on him and everything, but God, wait up, Noct. I guess you're gonna run off without us, Noct. Nen, Noct. Like, shut up, Gladio. Shut up. Like, Gladio became my least favorite character in that short time span. And then there's Prompto after the train fight where you accidentally knock him off and he goes missing. It was just... That stuff probably was in the game at first and then removed due to time constraints. So this game obviously had time constraint issues, and why we got it now is because Square Enix was like, get it out of development now, release it, make it gold. It angers me. It really angers me. So finally, I'm gonna close off with Arden, who is a wonderful villain, and I really enjoyed him as the villain role. And I think he is a tragic villain, because he was supposed to be the king, and does not end up being the king due to the issues explained, which they're not really explained too well. However, I've heard debates about like what type of villain, like he's obviously tragic, but I've heard debates about the actual type of villain he is. I think he is straight evil. He wants Noct to become the true king so that he can defeat the true king and show that he is more powerful than the true king. Now, the difference between the king and the true king is supposed to put an end to, I can't remember what they called Arden, but it's like, it's in the, your fate foretold, your, like, that stuff. It's in the scriptures, basically. The true king will sacrifice his life to defeat the evil, darkness, demon, villain, whatever. So, it is... Arden wanted Noct to come fully into his role of true king so that Arden could show that he was better than the true king. The only way to defeat Arden, because he is immortal, is to go into the, I want to call it like the spirit realm. Like you have to go into the realm after life in order to beat him. That is why Noct had to sit on the throne with the ring and pledge into the end of, and like have all 13 swords stab into him so that he could enter that realm himself. Now the ending is left open, and I'm okay with this. Like, obviously, Noct and Luna Freya are dead. That's obvious. I don't want anyone to say, oh, they're probably still alive. Maybe, like, doing this created a time loop where Arden didn't exist or anything. Like, I kind of doubt that. I'm pretty sure they're alive. Or, I mean, I'm pretty sure they're dead. They're alive in the afterlife, but they're dead in the real life. However you want to word it. They are dead. Now, I would like to believe Prompto, Gladio, and Ignis survived, but when you see like all those demons outside, it's hard to believe it. I wish they would tell us more about that. That's something I don't want left open. But like how the ending shows him and Luna in like a happily ever after thing, like it's sweet, it's touching, it's unnecessary because like why? She wasn't a developed character anyways, and Noctis was like a half-developed brownie. My God. Okay, so I'm gonna stop complaining about all these things. I'm gonna actually give my score of the game. What do I think this game is? Is it a 9 out of 10? Is it a 1 out of 10? What is it? Okay, so my scoring, it will be like, because I've gone over it in the I Am Setsuna review, and it'll change depending on the type of game I'm playing, but this was an RPG. So story is first and foremost. Ooh, boy, that was a bad story. Character development is heavy in RPGs that kind of can tie into story, but can also be individual. It was pretty bad. I liked the initial bit, but then you just fall off. Gameplay was pretty bad. It was fun to look at, but it was pretty bad. And like, I'll keep in mind, I have 97 hours in this game, and I'm still playing it because I'm trying to do everything and all that. And I'm still going to be playing it afterwards for other things, like when they add in the cutscenes and all that. Yeah, I'm going to come back. So I'm going to easily have over 150 hours in this game. Something keeps making me come back. Now, it's because I can watch it. It's actually an entertaining watch and stuff like that. Like, who knows? But the game was not overly enjoyable for me. I would give this game, at the bare minimum, a 4 out of 10. And at the maximum, a 5 out of 10. Because there's just, like, it is an unfun experience to go through. If you are so heavily based into story-based games and all this. I can't give it a good score. I can't. I can't look past the glaring flaws of the game. And it's like a spotlight dead. Like, see how there's a glare on my glasses? Like, it's worse than this. Worse than this. It wasn't a good experience. That being said, I have over 100 hours. Like, I will have over 100 hours in this game by the time I get my platinum and everything else. But then again, does that really matter? People can put time into bad games. It's a 4 out of 10 experience for me, at worst, a 5 out of 10 at best. This has been Edge with my review of Final Fantasy XV. I hope you all enjoyed it. I can imagine there's many differing opinions and everything. Please try and stay civil in the comment section. And keep in mind, I enjoyed my playthrough. Just like, it's not. It could have been so much better of an enjoyment factor. So, hope if y'all want to leave a comment, feel free. Try and keep it civil. I can understand debating, but let's not get hateful, okay? This has been Edge from Hitstone Gaming. If you liked this, leave a like, hit that subscribe button, comment. I mean, if you don't like it, there's that dislike button for you. Edge out.